Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. My name's Paul, that's my sofa, and today I'm coming to you with some news that many of you, if you're clicking the video, you've been following this case. It's news that is still lingering out there at the time of this recording, but I want to come and talk about some of the information that has been found in regards to some of Brian Laudrie's stuff being found in the park, as well as the possible remains. Now again, at the time of this recording, those have not been positively identified as him. However, regardless, I definitely have several questions about how all this took place. So let's go ahead and jump into what is going on. So Wednesday we saw major developments in the search for Brian Laudrie.
Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laudrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently have been underwater.
So again, a couple of personal items of his were found during the search, as well as these remains that, once again, they have not been positively identified as his at the time of this recording. So again, let's talk about some of the events surrounding this. So according to the parents, Brian Laudrie's parents' attorney, he is saying that Tuesday evening they were like, hey look, we're going to go to the park, we're going to help search on Wednesday. He contacts proper law enforcement, so on and so forth.
As you know, the reserve was only opened yesterday to the public. So Chris and Roberta had informed me last night that they wanted to go to the reserve today just to look around. And I notified the Northport police, who I believe notified the FBI, and they met them there this morning at 7 a.m.
According to the lawyer, this is an area of the park that the parents had told law enforcement about before, like, hey, look, you know, this is kind of an area that Brian likes to hike in and be around.
In the area where they found presumably Brian's belongings, is this an area that Chris showed police 2 weeks ago when he aided in the search?
I can't say for certain that Chris showed this particular area to police at that point in time, but I can say that this is an area that we initially notified the FBI that Brian liked to hike in.
Also, that area had been underwater until recently. So let's talk about how the actual search went with the parents. So the attorney's saying that, you know, Roberta and Chris, they went in, law enforcement was following them closely. Roberta was walking like on the trail and the father's kind of zigzagging through, you know, a little off brush area, that type thing. And everything's going hunky-dory. Now at some point the father will find this bag. I'll put a picture up here of it. It's a dry bag, a white dry bag. And it was like, I guess 20 feet off the trail or so. It's like some brushy area or whatever. So dad finds this. Now the attorney is saying that the dad didn't want to like touch it at first, but that law enforcement, he at that point couldn't see them any longer. News reporters were around, so he didn't want to leave it there with them. So he picked it up and carried it with him until they were able to find law enforcement again. Now when the parents did get to meet up with the law enforcement again, they showed them a picture of like a backpack or something else that they had found. And so there was that. Now again, this is also when it was, you know, stated, look, there's human remains that were found, and this is when the Laudries were asked to, you know, leave the area or whatever. Okay, so let's just pause right there for 1 second. So here's my thing that I just find odd about it is, number one, we see how huge this, you know, park is or whatever. Now again, it's been underwater. Okay, got it. We've had FBI cops, dogs, I mean, everything you can think of, you name it, has been out there searching. The parents show up and within 45 minutes are like, bam, here's the stuff. And bam, up there happens to be remains that, again, we don't know yet what, you know, those are or not. Am I trying to say, oh, they planned it, oh, I don't know, okay? I mean, I'm not going to even speculate as to how the stuff got there, whatever. I just find it completely bizarre that it's like that's all that took, you know. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind that they were able to just find this stuff, not right away, but, you know, within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, the search has been going on like over a month at this point. So I'm very curious to hear more from the parents, from the attorney, their attorney or whatever, as to how exactly like that popped off, like when we can get more intel into everything, because I just basically feel like, why haven't they found this before? And it could be just as simple as it was underwater, now it wasn't, and it's just a mere coincidence, but my God, what a coincidence. Now I also think that it's weird that it's like, okay, so the parents are going to come, they're going to show up, they're going to search, whatever, and they're searching, and again, a lot of this is coming from their attorney and the way he's, presenting the vocabulary of it, I guess you could say. So he's saying, oh, law enforcement was following them closely and da-da-da-da. And so then I'm like, okay, well, they obviously separated enough to where the dude finds the bag and they're not in, eyesight. So it takes them a hot minute to get called back up. Again, I'm just kind of like, why would law enforcement not be watching them closely? Now, maybe it obviously sounds like there's other people there and whatnot, but regardless, it just seems weird that they weren't, in eye shot of them, just with everything going on, even if it just came down to safety reasons. Like, look, these people are kind of like in danger. A lot of people don't like them. You know what I'm saying? On top of then also trying to be like, let's preserve the search. You know what I mean? So again, all these little things that happen like this, I think are what are fueling the fire for a lot of the speculation of like, look, do they plant the evidence? Somebody else do it, whatever, the rabbit hole is for it. Because there just seems to be a lot of like really gray zones that it's like, well, why did this go this way? Now, the medical examiner was called in, cadaver dogs were called in, so on and so forth. I'm hoping today we'll get a little bit more information, but it definitely sounds like they're saying it's going to take several days to actually make a positive identification on these remains, if we, with DNA, that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to hang tight on that part. Now, in another interview that their lawyer did, when asked, look, what's up? Why all the silence? Why didn't they help? Why didn't they talk to Gabby's parents? And the lawyer's like, look, I told them not to. They're following my direction. Plain and simple, that's what he's saying. And okay, it's just, a lot of people have a lot of issues with that part of it. But it's just interesting that the lawyer is doing what a defense lawyer is going to do, which is saying that they are doing what I'm telling them, which was to shut up. Now, their lawyer also in another interview had this to say about how the Laundries are feeling in regards to the discoveries that were made.
And can you tell us about how the parents are doing? How are Chris and Roberta right now?
Well, as you can imagine, the parents are very distraught. Like everyone else, they're going to wait for the results of the forensic identification before making any further comments. But at this moment in time, they're grieving. As
I said before, hopefully we'll get some more information to get some answers. My fear is this with this situation. Okay, now if you've been following me, you know that I was hoping he was found alive so that we can get answers and justice for Gabby and her family. Now that this is panning out this way, and again, we don't know if that's him or not, this is not confirmed, but the fact that if this is him and this is the way it went, it's just the easy way out as far as I'm concerned. And even though we have found out, from the coroner and all that kind of stuff as far as like what exactly happened with Gabby, we still don't really have tons of answers. We can put things together to be like, well, it kind of looks like he did this type situation. But nonetheless, it just feels like he got away with it if he took this cowardly way out. And that breaks my heart for her parents. I just felt like he deserved a day in court for them to be able to look him in the eye and just make him feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So again, but I could be wrong. Maybe that's not him. Maybe they'll find him and they will get to confront their daughter's, person that stole her life, allegedly. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully I will be coming to y'all very soon with an update of, some more solid information that we can sit here and talk about it. But again, I'm curious what y'all think. Am I the only one out here? Do you think that it was weird how they just found this stuff right away? Do we think it was weird that law enforcement wasn't like completely watching them the entire time? Do we think this is even Brian at this point? It's still up for speculation. We just haven't gotten any more solid intel from it. Anyways, that's it. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate everybody for being here, making the Sofa Squad possible. And that's it. Until next time, I'll see you here at the sofa.